Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Thursday. Welcome to the beautiful Srimad-Bhagavatam. I think that's what Srimad means. It means something like the beautiful, the exalted.
Beautiful. Yeah.
It means beautiful. The beautiful Srimad-Bhagavatam. Thank you, Sriman Kaustubha Prabhu.
Shripad Raghu.
You're also very beautiful. Shriman. I guess that means a beautiful man. Shripad means probably beautiful feet. Got to bring a Sanskrit guy in.
We really need a regular Sanskrit. Hey, speaking of Sanskrit, Nityananda Chandra, I really got to thank this. We have to thank this person for doing that Sanskrit shloka course. Not course.
Our Patreon Sanskrit shloka study course.
Yeah.
Impressive.
It's great. He circulated. Did you see he had a video of Chapu chanting?
I saw that. That was good. Chapu, proud of you.
That was super beautiful. It was really nice.
Yeah, Mara, it's not a competition. You just learn when you can.
But my wife saw it, and she said, "Oh, this person, you can tell they were chanting in their last life or something like that." But it was really not chanting Bhagavad Gita shlokas. She had her eyes closed from memory. She was just going at it. This group is really working.
Yep, Mara. What time does that group go on? Tuesdays?
No, it's Wednesday evenings and Saturday mornings.
Wednesday evenings and Saturday morning. Specific time?
8 or 8:30 Wednesday evening. I think it's, yeah. And Saturday mornings, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time.
And if you can't make it live, is it saved on Patreon or you?
Yeah, Nityananda Chandra also sends out the class on email.
Oh, okay.
That's great.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's
People
great.
are asking how they join.
They can email us and I'll connect them with Nityananda Chandra. Mm-hmm.
Email.
Wisdom of the Sages 108@gmail.com.
Yes. That's great.
Speaking of Patreon too, I did the Bhakti Center's Srimad-Bhagavatam class yesterday morning, and it kind of continued from yesterday's class. We were talking about, that verse that you brought up about the Madhya Madhikari and how they see God in the temple, but they don't see it in other people.
Mm.
It kept building off of that and going into the difference between religiosity and spirituality. But if people want to check that out, Patreon members is posted on Patreon, or you can go to the Bhakti Center's YouTube page, and it's posted there. Or you can just go to my Facebook page. I posted it there too.
And I did Sweet Baby Krishna last night.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm on a Sweet Baby Krishna marathon for mental sanity. Isn't it weird how that book, stories about Krishna, give you mental sanity?
It's the only way.
I was a little insane before I started reading yesterday, and then I became sane afterwards.
There you go.
Yes.
How are you doing
now?
Right
Look
now?
At me.
Yeah, I was saying.
Okay. So it's time for Srimad-Bhagavatam, and actually tomorrow is our big day. We're excited. Mara's been rifling through for hours, literally reading everybody's
Krishna miracles that they're writing in. You know, a Krishna miracle is something that like you can't explain it. There's no good reason. Like you think about somebody, and then that somebody calls you and says, "Hey, Hare Krishna, I've been thinking about you." What? Ever do that one?
Yeah, it's
The
happened.
phone call. You think about them, and then they call you right then.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we're having 2 giveaway: a first prize for the best Krishna miracle, second prize for the second best Krishna miracle. Kaustubha is going to verify them because he's the Krishna miracle cynic.
So tomorrow we choose the winner? That's what you're saying?
Tomorrow we choose the winner. We read them. Actually, she's going to read like the top 5 Krishna miracles.
Okay. And how are we going to, who's deciding, or are we all deciding this together? Is it the
You
three?
are.
What's going
You
on?
are, don't you?
Is it a voting system?
Is
We
it-
got to work
it's
that
not-
out.
It's going to be very obvious.
It's okay.
It's going to be very obvious.
It's going to be so
Who's the-
miraculous.
Something miracle. Who just told me like one that? Oh, Damodar Sarup told me one. He goes, I'm not gonna put this one in, but I had a Krishna miracle, but I'm not gonna say it because it's gonna sound too crazy. I was like, all right, what is it? He goes, well, we were in that place in Vrindavan where we get the chapatis, where we get the rotis, and I thought I saw Krishna. I didn't say that. I didn't say that to anybody. I thought I saw Krishna in the forest, but I didn't say anything. And then just like the other day, I said, yeah, you want to hear something crazy? I thought I saw Krishna in this place. And my wife said, I thought I saw Krishna in that place too, but I never said anything. Come on. It's a good Krishna miracle. I was like, you don't tell that to Stu. He's not going to believe it. We can't.
Well, you know where my mind immediately goes is the past time in the Chaitanya Charitamrita where Sri Chaitanya went to Vrindavan. And like it was going around the whole town, everyone saying, hey, Krishna, he's coming out there every night. He's out there on the Yamuna. You can see him. You know, you can. And but then it turned out it was just like some
a boat or something.
Some guy on a fisherman on a boat or something like that.
Yeah, Damodar Sarup. What are you doing?
There you go.
It was just,
I'm not saying it wasn't Krishna. It could have been, but
muskrat in the woods or something.
muskrat. You got any nuggets for us today?
Yes, I do, sir. Let me get
you
back
got?
my nugget machine. You thought that was funny, Justin? Here we go. Ready? Here's a nug for you.
Okay.
Self-knowledge involves knowing God as the ultimate self, because God.
That's not the nugget, Raghunath. That's the theme for the day.
All right, ready? Here's the
Here's my question. Why isn't Bhakti Justin waking you up in time? That's, we got to find the right person to put the blame on. Bhakti Justin, he's your brahmachari assistant. He should be like waking you up well ahead of time and bringing the nuggets to
after
you.
Me.
Right?
What's going on, Bhakti Justin? Okay, he vows to get up earlier.
Okay.
He went to bed early last night, too. Okay. The beauty of dasya ras.
That's also the theme. That's not the nugget.
Life's most persistent and urgent question is...
Who's this nugget from?
This is from the nugget master himself, Martin Luther King.
Okay.
Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others, people?
All right. This is about service, right?
Yeah.
The most persistent and urgent question. In other words...
Like tapping you on the shoulder?
Like constantly, this is what's like most important. How do we think that way, right? Or is our most persistent and urgent question like, how am I going to get more money, or where am I going to find sense enjoyment next? But he's saying no, it's persistent and it's urgent, both, right?
Where
both
can I find sense enjoyment next? That's such a great, urgent and persistent question for me.
I mean, generally it is, right? Like generally that's how that's
Where
kind
can
of
I
like
find
an animal
sense
level.
How can I have fun?
Yeah.
Here's one from Nugget Raj himself, Mahatma Gandhi.
Mm-hmm.
The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others.
All right. Well, that takes it to another level, doesn't it? It's not only persistent and urgent, but it actually reveals, it gives self-knowledge, right? It reveals the nature of the self, service to others.
I slept. Here's one. This is from Rabindranath Tagore. Also, Nugget Prabhu, we call him.
Okay.
I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted, and behold, service was joy.
Okay.
we say these things, but again, this is like, it's a key factor in we hear this randomly on the internet or something, but it's a key factor in our bhakti practice is being tolerant, compassion, and loving towards people who are sort of like a little lost, and in that act of tolerant, compassion, and loving, it works on us.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times I don't want to be tolerant, compassionate, and loving. So in my loving them, in my active loving of them, I'm purifying myself. The whole 12-step program, of course, our Bhakti Recovery Group is based on service. And that service gets me out of my own head with my own problems.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about me and what I'm going through. And I've been dissecting my mind now for 30 years. Get out of your head and do something for somebody else. And in that, your head gets a little healed.
I like that. I like this
Rabindranath
Tagore thing. What's that?
Hashtag that.
What's the hashtag?
I don't know. I forgot now. I forgot. It was something like my head
Something about
is
service.
healing my head.
But in the Rabindranath Tagore quote, I think, you see, when he says, I slept and dreamt that life was joy, I think by joy he means it's like sense gratification, right? It's like the purpose of it is to search out pleasure, right? Like, and when we're thinking that way, we're in the dream state. We're illusioned. We're not situated in reality. And then he awoke and he saw the reality that life was service, that's actually what we're designed to do. That's actually our purpose, right? It's not simply to search after pleasure, but it's actually to serve. That's how we're designed. That's our nature. That's our dharma. But then, and this is the counterintuitive part, right, is that then he acted on that. Then he actually began to act according to his dharma, to serve. And when one actually does that with surrender, particularly with like full-hearted surrender, then you realize that actually this is the joy now is not coming from anything external. The true joy, which is the nature of the self, arises. And so he says, I acted and I beheld that service was joy. I think it's
where does
quote.
Just be, air quotes, where does just be come in?
Well, that's it. Just be what you really are, which is a servant. Right? Like,
all right,
just
there
be
you go.
that.
Can't I just be and do nothing? Truthfully, it's like, this already. It's like I can't just be and do nothing. I want to do something. Sometimes, I have about 2 days in me and just being, and then I'm like, all right, I got to do something. I can't just be anymore.
I don't think you could go 2 days forever.
I can't. I'm booking my European stint. I'm doing a whole European little trip tour and tagging on stuff and adding on stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, why don't I just be? Why don't I just stay somewhere and just do nothing? Just can't do it. Can't do it. I got to keep this Rolling Stone's got to keep rolling.
Yeah.
I enjoy rendering service or doing my thing. And so I'm just keeping on rolling. I'm rolling through Switzerland and Germany and maybe Prague. Maybe Prague.
Yeah, we got people in Prague, right?
Rosabelle. Remember Rosabelle?
She's in Prague. Oh, that's right. Okay.
She's an old school Zoomer.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's dive into Srimad-Bhagavatam, that big, ultimate goodie pot of nectar joy. Narayanam namaskritya naram shaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tojayam mudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad-Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan. Unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati utamashloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated. In loving service to the Supreme Lord, whose praise with transcendental songs will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timarandasya Yananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus-like feet. Reading from the Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 13. It's the appearance of Lord Varaha, and I don't know if we made it to text 3 or not.
We did. I think we got to about, let's see, we did 5, I think.
I think we read through 7.
We read through 7.
I'm really excited for these Krishna miracles, Mara.
They're good.
They're good.
I haven't even been reading them. I got to get into them.
All right.
All right. So what's happening today is that we read in the last chapter how Svayambhuva Manu, he as well as his wife Shatarupa, they came from the body somehow. It's a special body that he has, Brahma. It's not like a body like ours, right? It's not made out of the same kind of flesh and stuff like that. It's a more subtle body. And so these different forms are emanating from it. and so 2 of those forms are Svayambhuva and Shatarupa. They become husband and wife. Now they're coming before Brahma. And unlike the 4 Kumars who refused his instruction to, what is it, progenify, progenitate,
Progeliate.
to have lots of kids. They're down. They're ready for it. They're going to embrace that responsibility, and they're coming to him, kind of in the mood of like a disciple to a guru, almost like, hey, instruct me. I'm ready to serve, right? And Brahma's real satisfied with this. So let's see. Why don't you go ahead and start with text 6? I think it'll be a logical place to pick up.
Text 6. The sage Maitreya said to Vidura, after his appearance, you know what? This is a good question for Sunday for Hridayananda Maharaj. You know, he's coming on the show. He's a Sanskrit scholar. He's Harvard Swami. But why is Maitreya speaking to Vidura? Now that's bothering me. Maitreya is like so. Why isn't Vidura leading that conversation? Is it because he's older?
It may have something to do, if we go back, Maitreya is this disciple of
Vyas, I think.
No, I think he wasn't it Parshar Muni?
I thought it was Vyas, which is Parshar, maybe, which is Vyas's father, Parshar.
Yeah, I think he was like a godbrother with Vyasadeva. So in other words, he's like this, again, like a super A-list sage, whereas like Vidura was more like a political man, right? Like he was living in that world of politics in the capital, and right?
Yeah.
So he went out and he met that sage in the forests. I mean, although Vidura had that relationship with Krishna, which in one sense,
trumps everything.
It seems to, right? But here he's going to, first he went to Uddhava, right? First Vidura went to Uddhava, who had that super intimate relationship with Krishna. But Uddhava still said, here's my senior. You should go to Maitreya. He's like senior to me, and go and question him. So it seems like there's some external kind of, etiquette being followed there. But certainly Maitreya is very qualified. And I believe it was Maitreya was present. He was present. Oh, we read this in the past, but I'm forgetting it now. But he was present during one particular important conversation.
Maybe Sukadeva Goswami, Mars Prickett. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll figure it out. No, it wouldn't have been that, because then you're going like in loops. If you
then you're in back. Okay, I got you. Yes. All right. After his appearance, Manu, the father of mankind, along with his wife Satarupa, thus addressed the reservoir of Vedic wisdom, Brahma, with obeisances and folded hands. Okay. That's how you approach somebody for questions.
That folded. You know what that folded hands means?
Namaste.
Well, yeah, but like I've heard.
Doesn't mean this.
It means like like here, my hands, they're offered to your service, like that.
What can I get for you?
Yeah.
So even in a question form, it's that mood
Yeah.
of I can. Yeah, I guess it's
Well,
not.
here,
What can
here
I?
it's their question is, how can we serve?
Oh, okay.
Please order us.
You are the father of living entities and the source of their subsistence, because they are all born of you. Please order us how we may be able to render service unto you. It's just like, you know what? We've lost everything in our culture. I'm depressed.
Hold it.
What's gone on? You see how students talk to teachers nowadays?
Yeah.
Or students talk to professors? How do you expect to learn anything? How do you expect the transmission of knowledge when students are shouting out at their teachers? In public school or in university, it's like heartbreaking. I'd hate to be a teacher nowadays. If there's 10 teachers out there, write on the board how it is. It might be good. It might be good, but at least the stuff you hear, it's like horrible. This is the way you approach a teacher, with folded hands, with appreciation. This is the way you approach your parents. Let's get some kids to read this. This is how you approach your parents. Hold your hands and say, what can I get you, Pops? Okay.
So Koretsky's saying it depends on how you relate to your students. Right.
Does it?
So there's got to be qualification on both sides. It's not, Maitreya isn't just anyone. He's earned this respect. Or no, this is actually Brahma. He's earned this respect.
Right? Yeah, he's earned it.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone's taking the side of the students here. And Julica says, we need qualified teachers. And she said it with that. No.
With a little attitude.
Little attitude. She said, and Ariana Lindbergh says, it's a mix. And Alex Bien said, or Chapu says, Alex Bien is a teacher. I think I'm just adding a attitude to all their voices. Jeff Bukowski says, it has changed significantly within the last 10 years.
Right.
And Sarah Kresge's a teacher. It has changed a lot since I started. Okay. Yeah, it has changed. Okay, thank you.
But but all that, set that aside, what we're witnessing here is something called dasya bhava, right? This is dasya rasa. It's like there is a taste, a flavor of love of the servant to the master, in a sense, right? When I use that language, maybe it sounds like too much, but in other words, when there's someone that you love and respect, right? Like, in a sense, as higher than you. Like, in other words, I need to learn from you, right? You've got more than I've got. You've got greater knowledge. You've got greater compassion. You've got greater wisdom. I can recognize that. I don't have a problem admitting that, right? Why should I have a problem, struggle, even like saying those words, But no, I respect you. How can I serve you? It's a beautiful sentiment.
And that doesn't mean you might not have an issue with your teacher. Like, you might actually have an issue with your teacher, and there's ways to even approach an issue. And it's the same way. Sometimes there are even bigger issues that you see something in your teacher and you say, I can't even approach my teacher about this. I'll approach another god brother of theirs or god sister of theirs, another person who's from there, who's been senior to me. And you see Lord Chaitanya does this as well. And I'm going to talk to the god brother and have them talk to the teacher because I don't understand their behavior or what's going on. And in that way, in that mood of not wanting to disrupt that hierarchy, because bhakti will flow down. And of course, as devotees, the teachers, they're not going to take offense by even your offensive behavior or my offensive behavior. Krishna takes offense when that flow of bhakti, of that disrespect happens, because it's all based on an idea of respect and appreciation. And it's the biggest deficit our world has right now, is we lose that, and we get a little mouthy and attitudey with people who've really given to us. And instead of our nature, the nature generally is not that I give respect. It's that I got my act together. And what's wrong with these people? Don't they see the way I see? And oftentimes I'm just covered in that type of illusion. Like, I got it together and they don't. And it comes out in a sacred relationship as well. And so we check ourselves to keep that flow of bhakti descending, which how it descends. These aren't rules just for the sake of okay, he's the next tier of my in the workplace. He's the upper level management. I got to respect them or they're going to fire me. It's not like that. In those Vaishnav circles, the elders, that's not their mood. Their mood is love. But Krishna doesn't like when that gets disrupted, or bhakti can't trickle down. And bhakti loves that mood of how can I serve. Doesn't mean we throw out discernment ever. It means there's just ways to do it than the ways I generally would do it in my old incarnation of being brash and cutting and critical, etc.
Yeah,
I think sense here.
You're making a lot of sense, and I think it relates to what you're saying about like your little rant about schools and teachers and kids or something that you were just on a few minutes ago.
Right.
But in other words, it has something to do with the stories that we tell, right? Like the stories that if I grew up in a village in India, 100 years ago, what to speak of 1,000 years ago, I'd be hearing the stories of, say, like Hanuman and how he relates to Ram, right? How Lakshman relates to Ram, and there's a beauty. I mean, boy, you read the words of Hanuman in the Ramayana. It's not like he's just this wild fighting monkey. He's got class,
He's a classy wild fighting monkey.
He's that's right. He's a very classy wild fighting monkey, and when he expresses himself, it's with great intelligence and great insight. But he's like the personification of this dasya bhava, of the beauty of that mood of service to the superior, right? And so there's that Sundarakanda. Is the section of the Ramayana where Hanuman is, there's so much of Hanuman's heroism. It's, it's called the Sundarakanda, which literally means it's like the beautiful section of the Ramayana. Yeah. But there is so much beauty in that mood. But what are the stories that we're telling now? Like who are the heroes? The heroes generally, they're commonly those people that are tearing down authority. Right, because there's such a lack of trust in authority. So certainly you and I were embraced those kind of attitudes as we were kids, and we were those troublesome.
Destroy the system.
We were those.
I had
troublesome.
a T-shirt that said "Destroy the system."
Yeah, we were those troublesome kids in school.
Destroy the system.
Yeah, but
I'm so dependent on the system, I don't even realize it. Hey, why didn't anybody plow the roads? I got to get to work. Well, we saw your T-shirt.
Destroy the system.
We destroyed the entire system. Now there's no one's plowing the roads anymore. I didn't mean the snow plows. Don't destroy that system. All the other systems. Why doesn't my water work?
Just keep the systems going that are serving me in the way that I want them, and destroy any system that demands of me like service to others. Yeah, so of course, well, the point is within that, like that Vedic tradition, there's like what is respected, what is glorified, what is seen as the focus of one's admiration. It had a lot to do with wisdom. It involved renunciation, it involved self-sacrifice, it involved wisdom, those kind of qualities. And when you have people that have embraced those, in other words, if that becomes the theme of your storytelling, then people begin to want to live that way and embrace those. Those are the qualities that I need to embrace, not necessarily brashness, not necessarily,
All right,
and then
yeah, go.
Well,
I'm interrupting your flow here.
Well, then when you have people that are embracing those qualities, then you have people that are qualified for one to surrender to, or for one to want to serve. And if you don't have that, then you have. Why should I show such respect to my high school teacher if they don't really embrace, these deeper qualities themselves?
Yeah. Right. Everyone was embracing the system back then. So here, I'm going through a list of my jackets, because back in me Kaustubha's kid days, you'd wear this jacket and you'd paint stuff on the back of it. You want to hear some of my back jacket paint jobs?
Okay.
and then you'd paint it over with white, and you paint something on top of it, so you have this whole like stiff jacket.
Like a turtle.
All right, one was no one rules. No one rules. That was
No
a big
one
one.
rules.
No one rules.
All right.
Right. F authority. F
How'd that go
authority. That was
over
another
at school?
right? F authority. That didn't go over well in school. You can write that on your jacket back then, so I'd have to write F authority. And what was the other one? No one rules, F authority, and
Yeah.
I can't remember the third one. It was in
Electric Light Orchestra.
ELO. I had an ELO belt buckle.
I know. That's why I'm saying it.
Did you know that?
You told that on the show once.
I just wanted to be cool and accepted.
It didn't work.
It sounded like a cool name. I didn't know anything about music when I was like in 7th grade. I was just like, I think you're supposed to like these guys. Then my friend who did know something about music came up to me and goes, ELO, huh? Name 3 ELO songs.
Oh, they
and I was
did
like,
that to you.
Junior high is tough. So desperately wanted to be accepted. I'd wear anything. Then I went through punk. Then no one rules. Have authority.
No one rules. Okay. All right.
Didn't you do that? Didn't you write on your jackets?
Yeah, I wrote different stuff. I had a Reagan Youth armband.
Reagan Youth, who's sort of like sarcastic, like the Nazi Youth, the Reagan Youth, right?
And the Hitler Youth, yeah.
Right, like yeah.
All right, we ready?
Yeah.
Let's continue.
What number are we on?
I don't remember.
The sage betrayed, you folded hands. You're the father. Got it. Text
I'm
8.
ready to serve. Yeah, ready to render service unto you.
Worshipful one.
And talk about
Please,
respect.
Yeah. Oh, worshipful one. Please give us direction for the execution of duty within our working capacity so that we can follow it for fame in this life and progress in the next.
Okay.
Lord Brahma said, my dear son, O Lord of the world, I am very pleased with you, and I desire blessing for both of you and your wife. You have without reservation surrendered yourself unto me with your heart for my instructions. O hero.
There's a lot of nice stuff in this verse, and in the next verse, it's speaking about the nature of this. When I say dasya bhava or dasya rasa, right? Dasya means that of a servant, and bhava means like the mood, right? Or the rasa means like the taste, the flavor of that, right? And so again, if we go back to Rabindranath Tagore, he was saying like, I awoke. Was it I awoke? Or no, he said I acted, and then I realized that service was joy, right? So that there's a taste in that, because that is our nature. But here we read, like, Lord Brahma he's right now, what he's doing is he's analyzing the mood. He's analyzing the dasya bhava of Svayambhuva Manu and Shatarupa. He's appreciating the quality of their dasya bhava. And so he uses words like, he says, Atma narpitam. But arpita means like an offering. And so Atma narpitam. Apanarpitam. It means that you've made an offering of your Atma. You made an offering of yourself, right? And he says you've done it. He says it's nirvailikena hrida. So that means like, I think vyalika means like a falsehood or a like fraud or lie, like that. And this is nirvyalikena, without any kind of falsity. Hrida, in the heart, right? You've made a complete offering of yourself, and you've done it without any kind of reservation or any kind of falsehood. It's like it's not a show of respect, like an empty show of respect, but it's really coming from the heart, It's
beautiful. Punk slogans. That's our theme today. Punk slogans. What was your punk slogan? Write it on the board. What did you write on your jacket?
Okay, text
All
10.
right, text 10. Oh, hero, your example is quite befitting a son in relationship with his father. This sort of adoration for the superior is required. Huh. One who is beyond the limit of envy.
You don't say.
Maybe it's because I'm old now, and now I'm pushing, hey, you should respect. There's a hierarchy. And when I was young, I was like, tear down all, what is it? Hierarchies? Authorities. Tear down all. Mara's give me that puzzled Mara face, like, huh? Huh? That's Scooby. Oh, hero, your example is fitting of a son in relationship with his father. This sort of adoration for the superior is required, and one who is beyond the limit of envy, who is sane, accepts the order of his father with great delight and executes it to his full capacity.
Again, like this is kind of loaded with stuff here, right?
Yeah.
It's like that the delight, you know, when one, he said that this kind of dasya bhava, which, you know, for us can sound almost like it's like when you rub the hair of the cat the wrong way or something, like ruffled someone's feathers, you know, like you go backwards. It's like, hold it, you know, surrender to the superior and so on. But he's saying that when you're beyond the limit of envy, and here again, like envy, you know, generally, my understanding is that Prabhupada is commonly translating this like a word that tends to mean like animosity or even hatred as envy. But here also it would seem like appropriate, like the way that we more commonly use envy, like you've got what I want. You know, like, oh, you're the authority figure. Why are you telling everyone what to do? I should be telling everyone what to do, you know. But when you get beyond that, when you're seeing reality, when you're no longer ruled, your mind is no longer ruled by these negative loops, right? And you can just view, oh yeah, it would be absurd for me to assume that I'm the most qualified person. You know, like maybe there are some other people in the world that surpass me, you know, in their knowledge, in their you know, their compassion, in their service, and so on. And so maybe I should honor them, respect them, serve them. So you have to be beyond the limit, and that's called sanity, right? It's insane for us to walk around like nobody's better than me.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's yeah. So he's saying it right here, right? One who is beyond the limit of envy and who is sane, right? They accept the order of their father with great delight, and they execute it with full compassion. Of course, it doesn't mean any father, but, you know, in other words, when there's the qualified father, when there's another person, father, mother, teacher, whatever it might be, guru, you know, when one is sane, one can recognize that and say, who do I want to serve in this world, right? By nature, I serve. Who do I want to serve? Let me find that person. And then with full-hearted, you know, service, without any duplicity, without any falsity, let me put my whole heart into it and serve someone that I see has earned that respect.
You know, we see this a lot with the students on Wisdom of the Sages and stuff. I'm thinking about, you know, what comes to mind, this dasya bhava is this Philly posse.
People, yeah.
From, you know, Damodar, Liam. These guys, just like you see these guys, you say, hey, you guys did such a good job. You put this whole program together for me. Oh, by your mercy. Oh, you know, we can't do anything. It's only by your instruction. It's like, come on, guys. You guys did this. I don't know anybody here. You know, they have that mood of like, they don't want to take any credit for anything. What can I get you? How, you know, they highlight their shortcomings. They glorify, you know, they glorify you. They appreciate you. They're wrapped in, getting the focus off themselves and what they've done, and putting it more on appreciation. Mara's like that. I click on that Zoom screen first thing in the
Mara
mirror.
embodies the dasya bhava here.
She
right?
does. She does.
She does. Yeah, she does so much, and she doesn't even like say.
I click on the screen. No one sees behind the screen. The first person I click on is Mara. She gets on. She goes, Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. And then she gets off of her chair, takes her headphones off, throws them at the wall, and then fully prostrates herself on the floor. I don't even see her on the screen anymore. And I can hear her mumbling those obeisances. And then she gets back up, puts the headphones on, gets her composure, and said, "How can I serve you today, Prabhu?" And I said, "Oh, Prabhu, thank you. Every day like that. This whole dramatic, beautiful thing." And then, you know, yeah, it's like we have Rachel Birchmeyer, who's on the show a
Oh,
lot.
yeah.
She's got that same attitude.
Mhm.
God.
You know,
She's
when
just I was on the phone with her yesterday, and I was trying to appreciate something she did. She said, "Prabhu," here's what she said to me: "Prabhu,
Mhm.
when I first met you, I thought, wow, he's doing such a good job. I would love to do what he does." You know, she teaches yoga as well as
Right.
all the other stuff she does. And she goes, I'd like to do exactly what you do. Years later, I'm with you. I realized I just want to serve you, Prabhu. I'm just honored to serve you.
Look at that.
I was like, man, you've become a Vaishnavi. How beautiful. Like, that's the mood.
There's
You
no
don't want to
envy.
become the teacher. You want to, like, serve. It's just such a good attitude.
She's
and
beyond the
I
limit
said
of
to her,
envy.
I said, because you have that attitude, you will do all great. You know, you'll be empowered.
Yeah.
That's how you become empowered.
Right.
That's
Yep.
how it works.
Right.
Where do you? It's not the vegan meatball recipe. It's because she wants to serve, which empowers those vegan meatballs.
Yeah. Well, and that's how she came up with the recipe. She became empowered to come up with the recipe because of that service mentality, right?
Yeah.
But you know, we were discussing with Kripamoy Prabhu on Sunday, you know, and remember when he was describing that, like, he was going to some kind of martial arts dojo.
Yeah, that was nice. That mood of bowing down. I am here to serve you. And bowing
Yeah.
to the.
And the teacher's kind of like, well, you don't need to bow down to me. That's kind of like a traditional thing or something. No, I want that tradition because there's meaning to it, you know. And but not only meaning, but there is a flavor there, right? There's a taste to it. There's a rasa to it. And when one learns to develop a taste for that rasa, right? We're kind of like, that's a bitter rasa, right? Like, but no, you know,
It's a sweet rasa because you're not being exploited. You're being loved.
right.
It's
Well,
a problem.
There's love in it. Yeah.
And
both
there's
ways.
a problem if you have been hurt by an authority, abandoned by an
That's
authority,
our problem.
beaten by an authority, treated cruel by authority, because you just walk into this world without trusting. And you create this theory, people are not to be trusted.
Right.
And that's a problem. It's a problem in the material world. You won't have success in the material world. You won't have success in material relationships if you can't trust. And you have to start re-examining that theory and perhaps throwing it out or reserving that trust for people who are trustworthy. I got to give shout out to Dr. Justin too. He's doing a pretty good job.
Let's get him in there.
Let's
too.
give Dr. Justin a shout out. There's so many people I wanted to give him. Vegan Trucker, Jeff Eisenberg. I'm just looking around the board here. Ariana, you guys are beautiful. All right, let's continue on.
Well, I was just going to say that within that dasya bhava, which, like, to our minds, like when we hear the esoteric side of bhakti and it talks about the different rasas, we hear about, like, oh, there's the friendship rasa, right?
Yeah.
Sakya bhava, right? The mood of friendship, or the sakya rasa, the flavor of friendship. And then there's vatsalya bhav, you know, the mood of the parental love.
We're reading about that in Sweet Baby Krishna. We're right up to the binding of Lord Krishna.
Oh, that's
yesterday.
because that's your specialty, your
It's
flavor.
my specialty.
You got a taste for that, or what to speak of the madhurya rasa, right? The romantic love. And we think, oh, these are all beautiful, and you know, and I relate to that. Yeah, but when we hear about dasya bhava, we may be like, oh, no, not interested. But you know, in other words, the servant, like, you know, again, you know, the language is like, you know, the servant to the master, right? You know, like Kripamoy Prabhu was saying, like you see it play out in those kung fu movies. That's what they call him, the master, right? And they have that subservient attitude, but there is a beauty in that, and there is a taste in that when it's genuine, when it's real. And when the great teachers of bhakti have analyzed these different rasas, you know, they did it. I won't get into a tedious thing, but you know, just like there's earth, water, fire, air, and ether.
Let's get tedious.
And within each one, like earth has like all the qualities, like all of the senses, right? It's got aroma, you know, for smell. You
Right.
can, you know, it's got taste and flavors within it. It's got you can touch it, you can see it, you know, like all the senses. And then it goes like earth, water, fire, air, ether. Each one, like ether just has sound. And then air has sound and touch. And each one, as you go down each one until you get to earth, which possesses them all. And with these rasas, it's like dasya rasa, it's got the mood of service. And then when you get to sakya rasa, it's got service, but also a mood of equality. Like this person isn't my superior, right? That's why our minds go there. Like, oh, okay, I can accept that one, right? Like, as long as I'm not bound down to anyone, friendship is fine, And then with parental, it's like, actually, I'm the superior. And then with
I like that one.
And with the madhurya rasa or the romantic love, it's like it possesses all the ones that are there previously, but it's like turned up in intensity. But the fact is that the thread of dasya rasa, just like sound runs through ether and it runs through air and fire and water and earth, it's in all of them. So similarly, this dasya bhav is in all of them, in all kinds of love, all varieties of love, is the mood of service, right? Is the desire to satisfy the object of one's love. And so it's something that we're meant to cultivate. And again, the great teachers or acharyas, in these bhakti yoga lineages, they say that if we ever want to truly understand those higher bhavas, those higher rasas, like say madhurya rasa, the romantic love, which is so important to the tradition and laid out in depth and is the pinnacle of the Srimad-Bhagavatam. The way that we approach it is not by just like jumping to it and thinking that we can relish it and understand it or something, but actually it's by becoming deeply absorbed in that dasya bhava. When we really, again, as Rabindranath Tagore was saying, or like was it Gandhi was saying, losing oneself in service to others. Right? Lose yourself in service to someone that you really respect and admire, someone that really embraces the qualities of a true yogi, of a true bhakti-yogi. Lose yourself in that service, in that mood of service, that humble mood, and all the deeper aspects of bhakti will be revealed. And if you don't embrace that, you're not capable of really understanding anything, because you haven't really understood what the underlying basis of it all is, and that's service. Because service is love, right? You can't understand love without understanding service, because love is expressed through service. All right.
Mara.
Yes.
Someone wrote Kaustubha, Mara, something like Mara equals Hanuman.
There you go.
Yeah, maybe that'll be your initiated name, Mara. Hanuman. Hanuman Devi.
Hanumati.
I've noticed. No, I'm just joking. Okay. Have you ever met anybody named Hanuman?
Yes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Outside of ISKCON?
Well, I know of people. Hanuman Prasad, people like that.
Yeah, but I'm wondering, like in India, do people give that name as a name?
Well, like I'm saying, like at least I've heard names like Hanuman Prasad Podar, right?
Okay.
It must be people named Hanuman.
Okay.
And different names of Hanuman. Anjaneya, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, what number?
11.
11. Since you are my very obedient son, I ask you to beget children, qualified like yourself in the womb of your wife. Rule the world in pursuance of the principles of bhakti unto the personality of Godhead, and thus worship the Lord by performance of yajna.
Yeah, let's read this commentary here.
Rana, text 11 commentary. The purpose of the material creation by Brahma is clearly described herein. Every human being should beget nice children in the womb, not evil children in the womb. Nice children in the womb of their wife as a sacrifice for the purpose of worshiping the personality of Godhead in bhakti. In the Vishnu Purana 389, it is stated, Varnashram Acharya Vrata Purushena Parapuman Vishnur Aradyate Panta Nanyat Toshakaranang. One can worship the personality of Godhead Vishnu by proper discharge of the principles of Varna and Ashram. There is no alternative to pacifying the Lord by execution of the principles of the Varnashram system. Vishnu worship is the ultimate aim of human life. Those who take the license of married life for sense enjoyment must also take the responsibility to satisfy the personality of Godhead Vishnu. And the first stepping stone is the Varnashram system. Varnashram Dharma is the systematic institution for advancing in the worship of Vishnu. However, if one directly engages in the process of bhakti to the personality of Godhead, it may not be necessary to undergo the disciplinary system of Varnashram Dharma. The other sons of Brahma, the Kumaras, directly engaged in devotional service, and thus they had no need to execute the principles of Varnashram Dharma.
And they didn't have to go through it all.
What comes to mind? I mean, I know you got a whole thing for this, probably. But what comes to
I
mind
don't.
for me? You don't? Okay.
Well, I mean, I could.
You could
wing it, but
you could do anything. I have that faith in you. You could do
okay,
anything.
thank you.
You could be whatever you want, Kaustubha. You just put your heart to it. What comes to mind is that the act of sex. That's what comes to mind. The act of sex, begetting children,
Yeah,
is like a sacred duty. Like you're
Exactly.
calling a soul into this world. So you can take care of the soul and raise the soul. And everybody who has kids knows that it ain't easy raising a kid. But the idea is I'm calling a soul into this world. And sex becomes not just like recreational. It becomes actually a sacred, it becomes something sacred. And we've cheapened everything in this world. And it's really sad. And those big blocks we were saying about alcohol, drugs, control of the sexual desire, control of what we eat. These are like the big chunks that we have to like really get control of in the beginning stages of spiritual life. And if I've indulged in all of them, they're all slightly addictive, all those things. And to let go of them is easier for some than others. For some people, it's really hard to give up, promiscuous sex or alcohol. If part of our identity oftentimes is based in, well, I go to the pub, that's what I do. I mean, that's me, but these are for our benefit. This sort of like, sort of trimming us, pruning us. So right, you prune a bush
pruning,
to
okay.
develop the beauty of the bush. Right, it's a good analogy.
He's spoken like a true gardener.
Thank you. You got to prune that bush. So these rules are in place to enhance our life, not to sort of thou shalt not us to death, but to make ourselves act more beautifully. And then we start to realize that actually this is much more beautiful. And then Lord Vishnu or Krishna or this whole process of bhakti starts to work on these more subtle and refined things within us. We got to take away the gross things first. So right here, yeah, you perform this, you beget a child in the womb. Why? As a service. And then the child becomes your service. And anybody will say this, you know what? I'm learning lessons from my kid. My kid is my guru. You'll hear that all the time. People say that. I learned so much. But when we do it with that idea in mind, it becomes like a very beautiful a concept. And the whole raising the child or trying to raise a child. So this child becomes a special devotee of God. It becomes a beautiful act.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening here, right? They came forward and they said, what can we do to please you? You can have children, you can raise them well. Yeah, and then in the commentary, Prabhupada gives some flexibility too. For many people, he's saying it's the first stepping stone is to learn how to be a good, responsible person in this world, be dutiful, raise your kids well, be a good husband, be a good wife, be a good parent. Do it all as an offering to God. Do it all in relationship to God. And that becomes a stepping stone towards pure devotion, towards bhakti, towards the very goal of human life. And he's saying, and then other people, they may just engage directly in other practices of bhakti and not even need to go through these kind of like life stages that will be helpful for most people. And so the four Kumars who were born earlier, they just kind of bypassed that all and just engaged, purely in devotional service. So there's different strokes for different folks, but the guru, the teacher, they should be able to understand what's most appropriate for different people, engage them in a way where they feel satisfied, they feel fulfilled, they feel like it's at the right pace for them, it's something that they can actually do, and everyone's moving forward.
That's a powerful statement, Prabhu, is that,
What's that?
well, everybody's different. And, Kaustubha's path of bhakti is going to be different than my path of bhakti, for sure. We see it already. But there's not some type of suit we all have to fit into in bhakti yoga. We all have a very unique path. And it's going to start to, just like when there's buds of the flowers, and you're like, what did I plant here? I can't remember. And obviously, oh, this is a tulip, or this is, a rhododendron.
All your gardening analogies.
There's different buds and they're budding, and we're all different, and that's okay. And bhakti is going to be different. It's going to have a different fragrance and a different texture for each one of us. Don't think you have to fit into our clothes in your bhakti. It's going to come out differently as you practice. Krishna is going to bring a different. You're going to realize. Sometimes we realize, wow, this is my service. This is my offering. Or sometimes I got to do more, or sometimes I have to do less. And it's going to manifest with your beautiful talents, or it's going to manifest in some other way that it's going to come around back and get you from behind. Like, wow, I never thought about this, but I'm born to do this. I'm born to serve in this way. And it's sort of quite exciting. Don't expect us to be sort of monocropped. More like that, more farming analogies, monocropped, like that.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Mara, do we have any takeaways?
Oh, it's takeaway time already?
Yeah, it's past takeaway time.
It's past takeaway.
We do. Service gets us out of our head.
Okay, nice.
Destroy the system.
Destroy the system. Just be what you really are, a servant. Service empowers your meatballs.
Okay, that's my t-shirt.
Serve wholeheartedly and joyfully. Lose yourself in service. The thread of dasya is in all the rasas.
All right.
And then Jamuna Jaya put up a really nice Danadar Swami quote. That's to love is to please, and to please is to serve.
To love is to please, and to please is to serve. I like that.
I thought that was nice.
How about go metric, shove your foot up your ass. AJ
Excuse
Sullivan.
me?
Go metric, shove your foot up your ass. That's my tattoo today. I'm not going metric. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I needed this. This is the Srimad-Bhagavatam medicine. Medicine for the sick soul, the forgotten soul, the lost soul. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everybody, supporting us on Patreon. Really appreciate that. If you'd like to give some support, a monthly pledge, anything, it's community sponsored. Go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages. We have a Bhakti recovery meeting today at
Noon. Mm-hmm.
So if you haven't checked it out, check it out. How do they check that out, Mara?
Bhakti recovery group at gmail.com.
Bhakti recovery. So get that email out. Someone will get back to you with the secret Bhakti recovery codes. Mm-hmm. That being said, if you want to join us live here on Zoom, we got a crew, we got a family, we got some Zoomers. And you can join us at, you got to just email Mara. She gives out those secret codes. Wisdom of the Sages 108 at gmail.com. You can also email her there with the subject Krishna Miracle. If you've got a Krishna Miracle she wants to read, maybe you'll have the most miraculous Krishna Miracle of them all. Just write it in, and you could win the tulsimala.com what's the website? silvertulsimala.com. And if you like those beads, go to their website, tulsimala.com, tulasimala.com, and look at those beads. They're cool beads, and we want to support our buddy Gauranga Singha, and check them out. And if you put in Wisdom 108 lowercase, you get a 10% discount off your order. Sweet Baby Krishna tonight, 8:30 p.m. That's how I've been going to bed, thinking about sweet Krishna. Oh, Krishna, I go to bed with Krishna, but he didn't wake me up today. I'm blaming Krishna. Krishna, you are my everything. You are my alarm clock, Krishna.